Welcome to the Work Hard People's Podcast. Hope everybody out there's having a great day. I'm James, the old guy. Some people even say I'm old and wise, but they would be lying. I'm blessed to have the beautiful Angelina Marmaras. How do you say your last name?
You're right, Mars.
Marmaras. So, who actually happens to be my cousin. And I like to call her Tinker because when she was little, I'm going to tell you people, this girl was tiny. Ethel says it's because of Tinker Toys is why she started calling you that. I think it's because of Tinker Bell. But anyway, that being said, how are you doing, girl?
I'm okay. I'm here.
Doing well?
Tinker's still there, by the way. She still calls me
Hey,
Tinker.
that's how it is in my phone. Doesn't
Yeah.
come up Angelina, it's Tinker.
Nobody on that side of the family calls me anything but Tinker.
That's right. That's right. And you guys are kind of having a snow day up there, yeah?
Snow week.
Snow
Snow
week.
week.
So
It's a
you're up
snow
in
week.
what? Are you in Frederick?
I'm an only.
Only Maryland?
Yeah, so like if you go 70 towards Baltimore, like
Yeah.
Frederick is here,
Yeah.
Rockville, DC's here. I'm like
Yeah.
right here.
Nice.
I'm like a little bit
Nice.
like down from Frederick. So if I were to go to Frederick, I could get on 70, take me 30 minutes, and I could be down in DC in like 40 minutes, depending on where I want
Nice.
to go. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good.
I like where I am. It's like Frederick, but near the like Frederick, how Frederick used to be, because Frederick's not how it used to be anymore. It's
Yeah.
very developed, and everyone from Moco has moved up to Frederick because the taxes here are expensive. It's become very, very liberal county, and no one likes that with all of the different things that they've allowed. So everyone's gone to Frederick and then just works down here. So Frederick has become like the new Montgomery County.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, the reason we brought you on is because I think you have a pretty decent journey that you've gone through, and I think you have a journey that can benefit and help others. Because so oftentimes we find ourselves going down a path, everything's going great, things fall apart, and so many people crumble at that point. So many people have trouble picking themselves up, mentally preparing themselves for a different road that they're now having to go down. And I mean, you started out, were married. You guys were running some restaurants. You have six beautiful children. All these things are going on, and then boom, divorce. Things are going different directions. How was that process? How was it to prepare for that situation?
I mean, there's not really any, in my situation, there wasn't much preparation because for me, so his mom passed away, I think 2006, um, 2007, something like that, 2006. And it kind of changed him, although he was always, I think it brought out like some things that were already there. But at that time we'd only been married, what, 7 years. So we had three kids at the time. Um, you look good. It looks good.
Does this look big or
okay.
too small?
It looks fine. Go away. Sorry, we had to outfit
It's in the
check.
podcast. It's all good. This is a relaxed environment here.
So, then when my mom had her stroke in 2011, that really like hit everyone because that was like a mother figure for everyone around. So from 2006 to 2011, kind of kept the family together because everyone was falling apart. And then I got a phone call. He was cheating Valentine's Day, 2012. And everything went downhill from there very, very quickly. And there was always like conversations of like comments about him cheating. Being in the restaurant business, it's like a 90% cheat rate. I mean, it's pretty high. And but I just kind of ignored it. Why would you? I guess I live in the world of why would I feed into something that unless I know it's true? And if you're not giving
Yeah.
me signs or anything like that, I don't know. I'm probably too trusting, maybe. There was probably signs that I missed, but I was choosing to believe what I wanted to believe. Like, why would he do that to me? So, anyways, but so it went downhill real fast. It got, it went from being some control, like there was some control with the way family and things like that, but it went extreme real quick after that came out, and I confronted him about it. And there was, some pushing, laying hands on, and things like that. And so we separated in 2000, October 2014, and we had a protective order, so I wasn't allowed to
Yeah.
see the kids for a while and things
And
like that.
that's
So
that's I think the speed
it
that even makes it more difficult, I think, because there is
was
no
real
time to
fast.
plan and prepare. It comes so
Yeah.
fast, and now that happens, Splitsville. we're moving in a direction. You've spent, I mean, how old were you when you guys got married? I mean,
I was 18.
so
I was
you
18
spent,
when we got together, and I was
yeah,
9,
so
yeah,
you spend
18.
all this time working in a restaurant career. You guys are building this
Yeah.
business together,
Yeah.
and growing to, different locations, all this stuff. And now that's all separated, and it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Um, what even
So,
made you think that, like, hey, I need to take a different path. I don't want to do the restaurant thing because, like you said,
um,
now, yeah, what was that?
so first my mom made me get my degree when Vasily Steyo and Kosa were little.
Hmm.
I had no choice. Like she gave me no choice. And that was like I had already had an associate's degree. She made me finish my bachelor's degree. If she had not made me finish my bachelor's degree, my life would be in a very different place right now than it is. I would probably be struggling a lot more than I am. So, I mean, that's
And
one
you
of the
got your
things I
bachelor's at Purdue, through Purdue?
yeah, it
Yeah,
was Kaplan before,
yeah.
but it's called Purdue now. I mean, and that was like one of the big things like I push with my older boys now too, like you need a degree. You never know what life is going to throw you. You need to have not an A, a B, a C, like you need to have plan Z
Yeah,
because you never know
100%.
what's going to happen and you need to be able to be a chameleon. You need to be able to so what do you need right now?
Nothing. I'm looking at my outfit.
Okay.
Let me
You
let me
need to be
stop
able
you
to
right there real
think.
fast. That is one of the most important things, I think, is that it is very important to focus on plan A, because if you don't focus on plan A, you're
Yeah,
going to fail. You absolutely have no chance of succeeding.
right.
But it is important to have knowledge and understanding so that you are prepared for different movements that will happen. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes plan A can be going great and it will blow up because of no fault of your own. And what do you do now? If you don't have an
Exactly.
understanding or something, some type of knowledge, I
Yeah.
don't care what it is, some type of knowledge, whether it be a degree, a skill that
A
cannot be
trade, something.
done, some type of, yeah. So I just think that's very important for people
Yeah,
to
100%.
understand.
So I started substitute teaching before we separated. And one of the reasons I started subbing is because it was easy to do. I could do it like when my kids were in school and I wasn't like, sitting at home. But I think like my mom and dad did a really good job at giving me that self-awareness and just even though I'm in this like bubble, kind of being aware of what's around. And like I knew after the whole cheating thing came out and I kind of saw things kind of starting to deteriorate and him not getting the help that he needs and just not willing to do the work and things that needed to happen in the marriage. I was like, okay, I need to like do something. So I kind of was still working in the restaurants, but I was substituting a couple days a week too.
And your mom was a teacher. In fact, you would not be on this planet if your mom was not the teacher of our Auntie Etsy, right?
This is very
Because
true.
she
This is
introduced
very
Paul and
true.
Tina, which I love your mother to death. My every experience I have ever had with Auntie, I can't say Aunt Tina, Auntie Tina.
Yeah, I can't
Every
see end.
experience that I have ever had with Auntie Tina was wonderful.
Yeah,
She's always a kind person, even when she disciplined me when I was younger, like in certain situations, like when I was out there hanging out with you guys that summer, even the discipline, it was not like, now your dad, he threw me up against a car. You weren't there. Nina will remember this because we walked home from the mall, which was a big no-no. You were like 3 at the time, and it was not a good thing. And your dad, he's like, Uncle Paul's going after it. But your mom, not like that. Auntie Tina was like, she was fantastic. She would explain the situation, educate you on why you shouldn't do the certain things. She was just so sweet and nice. I always appreciated and loved your mom to death.
I know. I know she's totally different now, by the way, after the stroke.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's
I'm
some
sure.
like, she's yelled a couple times and things like that. And you're just like, who are you?
Yeah.
It's real hard to like deal with because like I went like with her, I went from talking with her every single morning at 5:30 in the morning to like not having my best friend. And when she did wake up from her coma, even now, it's real hard for me to talk to her.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like that was like that
It
also
can
like
mess you up.
happened in the middle of all of my life crumbling. Like all of the life crumbled at the same time. Like not just like my marriage, like it all just went. So I had a bad year,
So,
2014 to
where did
2015.
tenacity come from? Where'd the tenacity come from to not give up? What was it? Was it just, oh, I'm a mother, or was it, hey, I can, I got some drive in me? What
I
was it?
think I think some of it came from the way I was raised, right? Both of my parents were very
I
big
agree.
go-getters. They definitely, I mean, look at everything they went through, bankruptcy twice, and all of the things that my dad went through in life, all the things my mom's went through, their resilience. I mean, both of them have shifted in professions multiple times themselves. I think a lot had to do with, the foundation of the spiritual foundation, and having that those skills and the knowledge of the Bible and just being able to have that to lean on when you don't have anybody else. I mean, there's definitely times where I was like, I'm going to be living in Section 8 housing, living on food stamps for the rest of my life. We're going to be in a but like when my ex and I separated the second time, when we were like done in 2020, because we did reconcile for a while. Well, it wasn't really reconcile. He lived in his room, I lived in my room. We like co-parented under cohabitated because there was some things that were told he needed to do that he wasn't willing to do. And when the relationship came back together in 2015, it was very simple, like, this is what I want from you. If you can't give that to me, then here we are. So,
Mhm.
but anyways, when it finally dissipated in 2020, I mean, when I left that house, I had two mattresses in the car and clothes. And my mom helped me get my mom and my stepfather helped me rent a townhome. And that was it. That's all.
Yeah,
Like, slept on the floor. Like, and I was pregnant with Miles. And it was hard. Like, I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like,
that's
and
tough.
I barely got food stamps because according to them, I made too much money.
Yeah,
I'm like, I was a paraeducator at the time, which is like an instructional assistant, and I was making $28,000 a year. And I made
yeah,
too much money to get like a lot of assistance. Actually, COVID was my friend, my huge
yeah,
friend. If it wasn't for COVID, honestly, I don't know what I would have done. First of all, I would have been paying for daycare because I was lucky enough to have Miles in August 2020. So I was able to stay home with him. I was able to nurse him. That was a huge thing because I was able to do that with my other
yeah.
kids. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that with him. I got a lot of, we got money and stuff back from that, and I was able to do my master's. I did a 2-year master's in a year because I was working from home. So,
And
but I
that
mean,
master's, you're doing your post grad work in, you're doing post grad work right now.
so
You're finishing up, or
I finished my master's in 2022, did a teaching internship and all of that, or well, 2021. So I finished my master's in 1 year. So
and what
right
is that
now what
in?
I'm doing, it's a master's of education in a leader of special education. So it's a
Okay,
MAT, it's a master's of arts. But
okay.
right now I'm doing a postgrad certificate, a certificate in dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia. Only because I got into my doctrine program and I was like, do I really want to do this? I don't know if I really want to be. I mean, I've always wanted to be a doctor. We all know I want to
Dr.
be a doctor.
Angelina.
But I don't know if I'm ready
Dr.
yet.
Tinkerbell, everybody. Dr. Tinkerbell.
I don't know if I'm ready for that level of commitment. It's been a lot of schoolwork in the past couple years and a lot of
Yeah,
work. I mean, I tripled my income becoming a teacher and I'm a master's 30 right now. So
yeah,
more what I'm doing now is to help me in my job than more
yeah.
than anything else. But
It just
so
comes down to passion, girl.
I
It's
mean,
what do you really want?
my passion was put a roof over my children's
Yeah,
head and food on their backs and not have to I didn't want to live on the government either. Like, I don't
yeah.
want to do that. Like, to me that's a temporary thing. That's not a
Hmm.
permanent solution.
No, it's
So,
help.
yeah,
It's help.
exactly. It's
We all
assistance,
need help
exactly what it's
sometimes.
called.
Yeah. Hmm.
Called assistance for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So, the tenacity came from my parents, my family. I mean, I have like even my extended family, you guys, like Auntie Ethel, Auntie Paige, like seeing all of that because I mean, I don't think anybody, especially on dad's side of the family, has ever just given up. There's always been a role, right? There's always been like a pivot or of some sort. Like, this isn't working, we're gonna pivot this way, we're gonna roll this way. So seeing that also in family definitely helps you
Well,
when you're in that situation.
yeah. Historically, think about it. Our great grandfather, at the age of 17 years old in 19 whatever 10, I think it was 1910. uh, left the Isle of Crete in Greece on a boat with
Hmm.
his brother, uh, sailed across the sea to Ellis Island. They migrated out to Montana to work in the mines.
Yep.
As kids, built a life and a business in this country, lived to be 96 years old. And if you think there weren't struggles along the way,
Right,
and our
exactly.
family, I mean, you know, yeah, the struggles that Nanny had, and everybody, our family, we've had our ups and downs in the family, but we are, I think, tenacious. And I think it just comes from that stock. It has been built into us from the beginning.
Yep.
You put your head down and you work. Things are going to go wrong. When they do, you put your head down and work.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps. Like, I saw it with my parents. I saw it like, and I saw it on my mom's side as well. Maybe, not like they definitely came from Italy, and they definitely built themselves something, way something than what they were. But obviously I've always have felt closer to dad's side. So like just seeing all of that always like I
That's
like
because
whenever
Ethel kidnapped you, dragged you around the country for 4 years.
I mean, that was great
It
experiences.
was, it was awesome. I loved it. That's
I
what
wish if
developed
my
our
kids would have
relationship.
had
I've
that.
been on some of those trips.
I
We
mean,
had a
yes,
great
except for
time.
when you guys made me hide underneath the blanket and told me it's going to be stolen going over the Mexican border. Yeah, that
Yeah,
still
that
is,
was that was
it's
fun.
ingrained in my brain. I haven't left the country since, okay? You look fine.
Oh man, that was
Can't get
good.
in the
Good
back of a
times.
truck if there's
Yeah.
blankets, all kinds of just horrible, horrible trauma. No.
Yeah. No, it was
No, I
fun. It was a
mean,
good time.
having my family definitely helped. Even when I was going through that and I didn't feel like I had any family because I'm stubborn too. I'm not going to reach out. I'm not going to beg for help. I'm just not the type of
Hmm.
person. Um, it definitely helped just build me for what I am. And it sucks because like during the first horrible part of, in 2014, my mom had just had a stroke. And then right before we separated, like we got divorced, my dad passed away. So it's like always have like I always feel like there's always like, but it's also made me a stronger Christian, right? Because so while I was married, I didn't like stray because like I still prayed with my kids, but I definitely reverted more to the Orthodox ways because that's what, Nick had wanted. But now I don't know. I definitely have to say I'm stronger in my faith than I have been in a really long time. And even though I was then, just so many things seeing I mean like I bought a house in 2022. Like
Yeah.
who would have thought in 2020 when I was driving away from my marital home with two mattresses and some
Yeah.
clothes and two children and pregnant that I was going to like have a master's degree, be teaching and then buy my very own house. Like it's all mine.
In two
Nobody
years.
else's. In 2 years like and all I can say is honestly like yes, I was given the tools growing up and as a young adult and developed into a strong woman because of my family. But I mean it was all God because I mean it was all him. Like I couldn't I mean there were so many times I fell on my knees that like I don't even know there were like that the footprints in the sand
Yeah.
pictures. So many times I can say I've looked behind and there's been one footprint. And it's
Yeah.
not mine. They're too big to
Yeah.
be mine. They're too big to be mine. Like even now, even when things don't go great now, like I still like, you know, I still am like, okay, Angelina, don't be dumb. Look around you. You have a roof over your head that's yours. You've got food. Like Christmas time, like I posted a picture of like, all of the presents. Simo had built like a present wall. And like I looked around and like my kids opened their presents and I was like, I did that all by myself. And like just knowing that you do that is like just pushes you to be even more. But I also always knew I would get there because I have that drive. I mean, there was medicine. Don't get me wrong. There was some medicine. There was a lot of Wellbutrin. A lot of Wellbutrin. Like I needed that. Like, but, and I lost all my friends too in our divorce. Was definitely like you have to choose kind of thing. And having the businesses, not going after the business. Like I didn't go after the businesses in our divorce. I said nope. Though even though I helped him build them, like it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It cost me $28,000 to get divorced. It was almost as much as my wedding. My wedding was
Yeah.
35,000. Like, like, so it's
Crazy.
just it, yeah, it is. But at the same time, like also having children, you just want to be like, you want to be able to your children to look at you and be like, my mom, look at what my mom did. Look at what she rose from. Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah, and I
nothing.
think I think oftentimes it's mainly in spite of their spouse through
Hmm.
divorce, people try to use the children to hurt their spouse, which is terrible. Uh we I think is just as a culture we need to think, listen, we as adults got into this relationship and we as adults are getting out of it.
Yeah,
Let's leave the kids out and truly do what's best for them,
100%.
whatever that may be.
I
Um
mean, 100%. I mean, my children were definitely used. Vasily, my oldest, and I didn't talk for about 6 months. And, because of all living under one roof with my in-laws and things like that, it
yeah,
wasn't like divorcing one person, right? I was
yeah,
divorcing multiple people. And I definitely did my flaws, especially in 2014. I was at a very low with self-esteem and I was trying to get people to have pity on me. And I
mhm,
definitely said things and revealed information that I probably shouldn't have to people who I thought were my friends.
yeah.
Obviously, I found out very quickly, not my friends.
Yeah.
I have like three friends now, and I like really close friends, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I have a lot of acquaintances, like, I can go anywhere like you, talk to anybody, but when
I
the
keep
rubber
a
hits
very
the
small
road,
circle.
very
I
small.
and it's very difficult to get in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're in, you're in. I mean, you could do some pretty crazy crap and get away with it, and
Yeah,
I'll forgive you because I know that you've proved yourself to get into that circle. I am
yeah,
kind to anybody. I will serve and help anybody that I
yeah.
possibly can. I love people in general. I think it's my duty from the Lord to serve my fellow man, to serve my neighbor to the best
It
of my
says it in the
ability.
Bible.
It does. And so, I love that you pointed about your faith because that's one of the things that I think really helps us from a personal development standpoint is developing your faith. And if your
Yeah.
faith isn't religion, I know that not everybody feels the same way we do about Christ, and that's okay. To each their own. We all have to learn this journey together, and all do it down to separate paths. But you have to have some type of faith, if even in just yourself, which I think even
Mm-hmm.
as a Christian it's important to have faith in yourself and know that you have a heavenly Father that loves you,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to help you continue to work on yourself because you're going to
Yeah.
want to be better. And as you get better and gain more tools, then that's when you can really overcome the problems that we all have, because there is no status quo in the world.
Right.
You are either growing or shrinking. There is not, and it's
Yeah.
physical and mental. You're either growing or shrinking, and sometimes you're doing it all at the same time. Sometimes it's two steps forward, one step back, or a step forward and two steps back. But
Yeah.
ideally, we want to keep climbing that ladder, even if it's just a little bit at a time, because those are the things that are going to make us better. They're going to make us
Yeah.
better in our relationships. They'll make us better
Mm-hmm.
parents, better friends, better family members, better community members, as if we keep working
100%. I
ourselves.
mean, I always tell my kids and my students as well, like you don't want to be stagnant water because stagnant water is moldy.
That's
And
right.
who wants to be moldy? You need to constant if you go out, I said, you go out into nature, you go anywhere. I said you can go in the parking lot after it rains. What's the water doing? It's not sitting there. It's moving. It's moving some way. It might be moving downhill, but it's moving. So like you need to stay moving. You need to be able, and you also we talk about being fluid, right? You need to be able to move between things. I said if you pour water in a cup, a cylinder, it's gonna, and if you pour it into a sphere, what's it going to do? If you pour it into, a prism, whatever you pour it into, it's going to mold into that. And it's because it's fluid. And you need to be able to do the same thing. You need to be able to adapt into your situation in a healthy way, not in a bad way. Because if you can't, then you're going to die. You're going to become
100%.
stagnant. You're going to be moldy. You're going to run out. You're going to evaporate, whatever it may be. So
Yep. And growth is the key. I don't care how old you get. I mean,
never
I
stop
just
growing.
I just turned 52. I try to learn stuff every day if I can. I
100%.
keep, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but like I got, I keep a library of different books. This is a
Mm-hmm.
great one, by the way. Chase the Lion. Is written by Mark Batterson. He's a lifelong pastor, been
Uh-huh.
doing that his
Yeah.
entire life. Great book. But I mean, I'm always trying to learn little things that are going to help me apply my skills to be better, and not necessarily better to make more money. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, we need money to survive, but better to help others, to help my family and help myself, right? So it's so important. Don't continue to work on yourself. You are a light, an example to, I think, so many people out there, just because not everybody hits a situation like that or has a major life altering event and can overcome it. They
Yeah, it's not
blame
fun.
God, they blame others. It's everybody else's fault. Why would they cannot see the silver lining and
Hmm.
try to overcome it?
Well, that is one of the things we work on with my students and actually with my daughter because it's a big word that we use, accountability, right?
Yeah,
Um, a lot of what you see in nowadays in our society is there isn't any. Rather, there are keyboard warriors, right, who probably need
100%.
a good beating,
Yeah,
um, because they don't know how to shut their mouth. And
yeah,
like I've literally said to my students and my daughter and my older three boys, they were on that cusp, right? So being 22, 21,
yeah,
18, they were still like they still had to watch what they were saying because someone was going to come beat their ass.
yeah,
But my daughter being 13, she knows because her brothers keep her in check. But I see a lot with my students, especially my fifth graders that I support. They're just like, there's no repercussions. And I'm like, the biggest thing that I'm constantly saying is accountability. Sometimes my daughter has said things and I'm like, no, 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 we're not doing that. You're going to be accountable. I don't care what anyone else did. You're going to be accountable for you. I had a situation with one of my students where he was calling kids names and things like that. He was like, oh, well, they did blah, blah, blah. I said, so if I got mad at someone and I decided to go, it doesn't matter, go away. If I decided to go and get mad at someone because of something they said to me and call them names, what's the principal's gonna come to me and be like, oh, Miss Marmaras, like blah blah blah. No, my principal's gonna be like, what? Why'd you do that? They don't
yeah,
care. They don't want to hear what everyone else did to me. They want to know why I did what I did. I'm responsible for me and my actions. And I was like, it's called accountability. Like, you need to be accountable for yourself. You need to be accountable for what comes out of your mouth, for what you do, for what you say, where you go. Like I've told my daughter, my boys heard it all the time. You need to be careful with who you get into the car with who you hang out with, because you know
hmm
what? If that person gets in a fight and you're standing there, you're automatically guilty. If that person has drugs in their car and they get pulled over, you're automatically guilty. If that person's drinking and they're driving and you get in the car, you're guilty too. You
yeah.
are guilty. You are accountable. Go away. She's like, no, I'm not. See,
Yeah,
like
no, you gotta own,
that
and
is
you
that.
gotta own it. You gotta own your
Yes,
mistakes. Don't, it's
100%.
not anybody else's fault what you did. Own your mistakes,
And that is
period.
the only reason that I am where I believe I am where I am, because I have done the work and I have looked at myself and been like, okay, Angelina, like, you know, he did this. Great. He did this. What did you do? What did you do? Well, you had a baby with someone else, while you were technically still married, wasn't
Yeah,
cheating, but we were still married. What kind of example were you for your kid? You ran your mouth and you put your business out there. So now when people didn't come to you and be like, "Oh, take your side" or whatever, now you're mad. Well, you shouldn't have put your business out there. It's not like you have to be constantly accountable for your actions and not just be like, well, they did that to me, so I did that. You're right, he did a whole lot of horrible things that I would not agree with and that I don't like. But I didn't just sit there pretty either. And even just sitting there pretty and taking it is not the right thing either. So
correct.
like I don't think that I would be where I am today had I not put the work in, had I not done that internal dive into myself and been like, okay, what did you do wrong? What can you do better? How are we going to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Absolutely. That is absolute great advice. I want to, I know you got things that you got to do today, but one last question. If you could just tell anybody anything, what do you think the most important thing about yourself is in this journey? that you've been on?
Important thing about myself.
The most important thing to you about this journey, the key. If you could tell somebody, give somebody some advice that's going through the exact same thing you're going through, what would it be?
I mean, I didn't give up. Even when when I was in the trenches on my knees, like basically foodless, electricityless, everything else,
Yeah.
I didn't give up. Like, it may not have been a big light at the tunnel, but it was a little lighter. Um, that's the biggest thing. Like it's bad, but it could always be worse, right? Like, I guess that's one of the things Dad always used to say, like, your situation may be bad, but it could be way worse. And even if it's way worse, there's always a way. There's always a way. It may not be the most prevalent or like the most obvious way, but there's always a way. There's always a way. Rather, whatever you may be doing. If you're addicted to drugs, there's a way. It's not easy. If you're addicted to alcohol, same thing. If you're homeless, like there's always a way. And like if you ever look at the people who are stagnant, it's because they gave up. It's not because there isn't a way. They just straight up gave up. Like they just were like, you know what? This is my situation and I'm just going to live with it instead of being like, okay, this may be my temporary, but what's my permanent? What's my long term? And honestly, even where I'm at now, this isn't my permanent. This will never be my permanent because you do, like you said, constantly have to grow and evolve and change. And if you don't grow and constantly grow and evolve and change, then you will become stagnant and this will become your permanent. And I don't want this to be my permanent. It's amazing. I'm very proud and happy and proud of myself, proud of my kids, and happy where I'm at. But this is not my permanent. This is not where I want to stay for the rest of my life.
No,
So,
that is great advice. And also so oftentimes people quit, and if they'd hold on 2 more minutes, they'd make it.
yeah,
You
I mean,
know, so
absolutely.
that is great advice. Thank you so much, Angelina, for joining us. Thank you for
Absolutely.
being willing to share your story. You know, I
I
love you to
may
death.
consider coming back. I might
Oh,
consider.
look at that. Hey, all right. I'll have you for sure. So, but with that, I just want to encourage everybody to take the time to continue to work on yourself every day, get a little bit better. Y'all get out there and work hard, peoples. And remember, don't forget to smile. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook at Work Hard Peoples LLC or Instagram at Work Hard Peoples LLC. You can also find us on our website at workhardpeoples.com. Have a great day or night. Don't forget to smile.